Welcome back, listeners. I'm Robin Black, and this is It's All About Healing podcast. We have a special guest, Mr. John Petrelli. He is a motivational speaker, a two-time best-selling author, and a performance coach as well. And I definitely want to speak today about how he overcame GBS that
GBS.
left him completely paralyzed, and how he just transformed his personal journey into a powerful message as well. So, John, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you, Robin. Great to connect with you here. I'm super excited to share with you and learn about you and see how we can help people.
I love that. So, tell us a little bit about this journey and how this journey began of you just becoming a motivational speaker.
Sure, we'll have to go way back. I hope you have some
Okay.
time
Yes.
because in my teen years, I had a bunch of challenges to the point where I was arrested at 18 and I was sitting in a jail cell waiting to see if I'd be charged with manslaughter. I yeah, I had made a split-second decision that affected the rest of my life, and I got in a fight, and the person that I hit ended up falling, and they hit their head on the curb, and so our life can change in a split second, and I feel it's so important because today's generation of kids, we have to just assume I tell my boys that everything and anything you do is gonna be video recorded, it's gonna be put up on social media. We have to be very mindful of the actions we take, and at that point, that really changed my life where I knew I had to change my peer group, I had to change my future, and I was blessed to have some mentors step in, and they saw some light in me that I didn't even see at that point. I thought that I was a failure, that I didn't have a future, and I had one professor really in general, in particular, Mr. Tom Lanahan, that he was like, "You can change your future if you're willing to put in some work." So, when we talk about motivational speaking, my passion is to really help guide our youth. And I have to go back to my youth to tell them my stories, to let them know we can screw up, we can make mistakes. It doesn't have one moment doesn't have to define your life.
Mhm.
And so when we start with the path of motivational speaking, it goes all the way back to that.
Right. Oh my goodness. So, and you were 18, you said, when this
I was
happened?
18 years old. I was just out of high school and I was just getting ready to go into college.
Mhm.
And I wish I could tell you that it was transformational what happened, but it wasn't instantaneous. And it was a process for me to start making changes to the point where at 20 years old, I had gone through the court system. Thank God the person that I got in a fight with lived. That I had to go through my whole case. And I decided that I wasn't strong enough mentally to avoid the temptation of the peer pressure. I'm not blaming anybody. It was my mentality that wasn't able to do it. But I had that realization and I moved out of my neighborhood. I moved out of my environment across the whole country
Mhm.
from New York to California. And I was blessed to have a friend of mine that lived out there that allowed me to sleep on his floor. And
Mhm.
so I moved to a new environment. I slept on the floors, eating cans of tuna fish and ramen,
Yeah.
just at a shot at potentially having a new future. And that's when I got into this is we're going way back, girl. I'm a lot. You can see my gray hair. I'm a lot older than you are, but I'm going back to like 1993, and that's when I said I wanted to do something that would contribute and help people as opposed to doing things like fighting and destructive behavior that would take away. And that's when I got into wanting to be a fitness trainer and a health coach, a fitness coach. And I took, after 6 months of sleeping on the floor and working odd jobs is in landscaping and digging ditches, I had saved enough money and was ready to take the test to be a trainer. And so this is back in the day where they had textbooks. I know they don't have those anymore, but
Yep.
like you'll be in an archaeological dig one day and they'll dig up textbooks and the kids will be like, what is that? And so I took the test through studying through textbooks and I passed. And that started my journey of 33 years of becoming a fitness coach. And that ultimately evolved to after about 10 years where I started working with celebrities and Grammy award winning artists and traveling around on a private jet on international tours. And I just want kids to know that Well, once again, one moment doesn't define you. And if you put yourself in an environment where you're helping people,
Mhm.
people will ultimately turn around and help you. And it's been 10x in my life of what I've received back from helping people.
I love hearing that. So, if we can just rewind for a minute, now
Yeah.
what caused you to hit that other student?
Yeah. So stupidity, number one. But
Okay.
if we go beyond that surface, I had anger issues. I had a poor relationship with my father. I'm not blaming him, but at that age, I didn't have the cognitive tools to deal with the anger, and I was too embarrassed in my ego to communicate what was going on. I had dyslexia, which at that time we didn't even define, and my grades were horrible. And there was a pivotal moment in school, and once again, I take responsibility for what I did because people can say things or provoke you, but really, we're in control of our actions. But I had a teacher one day, junior year, my chemistry teacher, where I raised my hand in school to answer a question. And I never do that. Like I was embarrassed always. And she basically looked at me and she said, "You think you know the answer to the question? The guy that got the lowest grade on our first quiz in the whole school." And she said, "Why don't you put your hand down and stop wasting our time?"
What?
And it crushed me.
Yeah.
And so, man, so I put my hand down. And at that moment in my life, I put my head down and I just harbored a bunch of anger.
Mhm.
And so from that moment, I can really trace a path of being destructive. But in reality, if I could go back now, I would tell that teacher, I said, "You know what? Your job is to teach us. I know I may not be the smartest kid, and I could have taken the opportunity to prove her wrong and going, you know what? I'm going to study so hard and work so hard that you won't be able to deny the progress that I've made." But I
Right.
didn't do that, right, at 18, and that's when I started getting into fights and everything. So if I had to trace it back, those are definitely elements that were in there. Once again, I was with a group of kids that our identity was to be like, tough guy. We weren't scholastic and everything, so I had to keep up with the Joneses. If my friends were getting in fights or doing something destructive, I felt like I needed to keep up with that. And so I made a split-second decision. I saw a friend of mine about ready to get into a fight. I knew he couldn't fight. I pushed him out of the way. I hit this kid. He went down. He hit the curb. An undercover police officer saw the whole thing.
Oh,
And
no.
next thing you know, I was in the back of a police car and they were doing everything they could to revive that person unsuccessfully for a long time. And so, like, like that, a culmination of bad choices led me to that decision.
Right. Oh my goodness. And were you freshly 18 or were you
Yeah, no, I had just literally graduated high school, and it was so if I go back, it was probably June of the year because we got out of school, and my birthday's in April, so I turned 18 at the end of April, so I was 18 for a couple months.
Oh my goodness. And I think that kind of speaks volumes on how a lot of teens is trying to channel different emotions, right? It's like anger sometimes is what becomes the best friend, right? That seems to be our go-to because we internalize so many thoughts. We internalize our feelings, our being embarrassed, not knowing how to answer a question. And then for a teacher to just completely humiliate you like that, I can only imagine what that felt like. But I feel a lot of our children are going through that. They're
Yeah.
experiencing that, especially because we have AI and I know my daughter and my son both have said that they feel that they learn more sometimes from YouTube or Google or AI even than they do the teachers. And
Mhm.
it's like no one's it's I feel like they're kind of giving up on really teaching our students and really caring about our students. There are still some,
Yeah.
but what would you suggest for some of our teens how they should try to kinda channel those emotions when they feel that because we internalize so much? Like, What would you suggest?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and I think it transcends age, right? Not necessarily our teens, but in adulthood too, we have a connection and we can harbor shame, right?
Yeah.
And if we ultimately scratch down anger, to from violence to anger to it goes down to shame. And I had shame in regards to what my capabilities were or my lack of capabilities were.
Mhm.
And I would just say my whole company is built from failure. Like, I feel like I'm built from failure, and failure is the best tool to teach us. But we have a negative connotation connected to the word failure and what it is. We have shame connected to that. But if we change it and flip our perception, now it's just a learning experience. And we're going to take one or two things from whatever that is. We're going to take it forward, learn, make some adjustments. And I tell kids, you don't have to have shame, right, in learning, because if you're not failing, you're not really trying. So it's a really a success if you're failing. If we look at athletics, like I help coach baseball, the best players to ever play the game fail 7 out of 10 times. They're batting 300 and they're in the Hall of Fame. So we have to change that perception of what failure is and take the shame away from it and go, no, I'm getting empowered from the things that I'm learning. And then surround ourselves with coaches, with teachers, with people like yourself that are going to encourage and help people grow.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love hearing that. I love hearing that so much. But I definitely agree. I think failure is actually what leads to success.
Yeah.
And then trying to help others, even like you said, children and adults, is learning the markers of success. Everybody, I feel, has different levels of success because everyone kind of puts these markers on success. You have to have the car, the house, the perfect marriage, and these things. If you don't have your own career, they internalize that and then feel that they're less than.
Right.
And I feel that a lot of us internalize that. And
That's
that's
a
where
great
I feel
point.
that just as society, that's what we're running into. And sometimes that can cause different anger issues, the sense of wanting to get revenge on people or to steal things. It kind of just kind of goes all over the place on trying to figure out how to handle those things and deal with those things. But I feel that our children are dealing with that and internalizing that more. And then especially the ones who are being bullied as well.
Oh, tremendous. Yeah, there's so many great points you put there. And what I would love to piggyback off of that because I feel like the cure to that or the potential cure is gratitude.
Yeah.
Because if we're grateful for what we have, and I've had really nothing at points in my life, and even recently when I was paralyzed, but in this world of social media, in this digital world, kids will specifically look at other people on social media and go, "Man, they have all these things going on." Well, you don't know the reality of what's really behind that, and then we start losing gratitude for what we have and feel like less than, like the grass is always greener on the other side.
Mhm.
But no day is guaranteed. I've learned that the hard way. And if we wake up and you have breath in your lungs and you are here, we need to be grateful for everything we have.
Right.
Uh, it's hard sometimes when you're in the mix of it, but I can tell you that probably if you look through your life, I definitely look through my life, that if we look through the times where we had struggles, we can, they, relish the fact that we made it through there and go that, man, those were tough times, but I wouldn't be where I am right now
Yeah.
if I didn't go through that process.
Absolutely. And I think it's hard to kind of grasp onto that everything happens for a reason. I know people feel that that's cliche, but that's the reality of it. And kind of to go back on that. So when exactly did it happen when you became paralyzed?
Great. So here I am. I become a trainer, work really hard.
Mhm.
I like to say I become a black belt in customer service. Like I've become a black belt in what people need and filling those gaps, even beyond what is defined in a job role. Like, how do I go beyond to help solve things? And I've really found that that's a key to unlocking my success is really solving problems, helping people beyond. And then I have this very successful career. I have a beautiful wife. I have 2 kids. Everything is going amazing. And then in 2021, I was dealing with some stress with a corporation that I was dealing with, and it was kind of giving me some sleepless nights. I had COVID. We're in the midst of COVID, and I wake up one morning and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. My feet hit the carpet, and I immediately know that, like, okay, something's wrong. I can't feel my feet. But I hesitate for like a second, and I was gonna tell my wife, and I'm like, "What am I gonna tell her? Like, I got tingly toes. What am I gonna tell her?" So I get my clothes and I go in the other room to not wake her up, and I start changing. And then I realize, okay, I can't feel anything from below my kneecaps to my feet. I can't feel my hands, and I can't even read my phone. Like, my vision is so blurry.
Yeah.
I break down. I go back in. I wake up my wife Cheyenne, and I tell her, that this is crazy. But I'm always looking for balance in my life. But I tell her it's Saturday. I'm going to work on a Saturday. I said, "Can you make an appointment for Monday to go to urgent care? I'm going to go to work today."
Yeah.
And my wife, God bless her, she gives me balance. She goes, "Are you out of your mind?" She goes, "You can't see right now. You're going to go to work." And so she, thank God, gives me balance, brings me to urgent care, which is just a couple minutes away. By the time we get to urgent care, I can't even take my insurance card out of my wallet. I can't sign my name. They bring me into the evaluation room. The doctor, you know how they give you the reflex test with the little hammer that's like a triangle?
Yeah.
I can't feel any of that on my elbows, on my knees. And then they go to draw some blood to take some labs. And I'm never squeamish. I've never had a problem with needles. I go unconscious.
Oh man.
When I come to, the doctor, the attending physician goes, "I don't want to scare you, but you're showing signs of two rare autoimmune disorders. It could be multiple sclerosis or it could be Guillain-Barre syndrome, GBS. I'd never heard of that."
Right.
He goes, "We don't have the ability to test for it here. I need to send you to the hospital just down the road. They're going to put you on a table. They're going to draw fluid from your spine. They're going to give you a spinal tap, and they're going to test to see if you have it." It takes 3 minutes to get to the hospital. They're waiting for us. I
Yeah.
can't get out of the car now. I have to be in a wheelchair. That's how quickly my body is deteriorating. I'm like a double A battery that's just being drained.
Yeah.
They wheel me in a wheelchair. They give me the test. They pull fluid out of my spine. That attending physician goes, "Look, I believe you have Guillain-Barre syndrome. It's going to take several hours for the test results to come back. Out of abundance of caution, we are going to bring you to the ICU, and we are going to bring you right next to life support, because the way this manifests itself is it will keep ascending up your body. It'll shut off your heart and lungs, and you'll be dead."
Oh my goodness.
So this happened. Here I am with tingly toes at 4 a.m. And by 10 a.m., 11 a.m., I'm in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so they bring me, I have to kiss my wife goodbye. They bring me to the 6th floor. They're wheeling me down the corridor of the ICU. And I literally see people in all different states of disarray. There was a person that's on life support that was in a car accident. There's someone battling cancer. Robin, I make one of the most definitive decisions of my life. I've been defined by my physicality for
Mhm.
33 years. I teach jujitsu, boxing. I'm a fitness guy. All that is gone.
Right.
And so I made a decision, number one, that if I was going to have a pity party for myself and feel sorry, it was going to be right now in that moment. And by the time they got me to my room, all of my focus had to be on finding a solution,
Yeah.
because all I had left was my mentality. Here I am. You don't know this, but I've been dropped. I was on a reality show for ESPN. They dropped me in the middle of British Columbia, Canada,
Mhm.
and I had to live for 14 days on my own, running 20 miles a day for 14 days.
Wow.
So everything I've powered through in my life has been my physicality.
Right.
Learn that it's really your mentality that
Mhm.
controls everything. And
Absolutely.
so they bring me to the room, they put me in bed, they put me next to the life support. And the first decision I make is, I don't have a great relationship with hospitals. My father suffered from cancer and was in the hospital for months, and I was there every day with him. And so it's not a great place for me. You hear the beeping of the machines, you hear people suffering. And so I had to transport myself out of there. Although I couldn't do it physically, I knew I had to do it mentally.
Mhm.
For me, one of the things that inspires me, that really can transport me, is music. And
Yeah.
so I had my wife bring a speaker and headphones, and one of my clients for 20 years was Ziggy Marley, Bob Marley's first son.
Mhm.
So I was playing Bob Marley and Ziggy Marley and things that inspired me. I didn't care if people thought I was crazy, but I was like, there's going to be too many instances here where I can go into a dark place and get into this negative mindset. And I need to keep my mind active on things that really make me happy.
Yeah.
And so that was number one. Number two was I'm a big believer. Prayer has really helped me in my life and visualization. And so I was praying, I was doing breath work, and I was visualizing my body healing itself. Now, people might go, that's mumbo jumbo. I'm okay with their believing that, but I needed to also keep active so I didn't think about all the things I didn't have. So I had to be an active participant in addition to the doctors, the nurses, and the medication.
Mhm.
And then the third key to my success, boy, so I lost my ability to swallow whole food. I had to have everything pureed. I lost my ability to use the bathroom on my own. I had to be catheterized. I was fully paralyzed 6 days into this.
Yeah.
I had soiled myself multiple times in my bed. I was very um, emasculated. It was demoralizing. I was doing everything I could to stay positive. Day 6 into being paralyzed, they brought me to do a CT scan because they thought I might have had a stroke or a heart attack. They put me up to an EKG. Heart attack comes back negative. They got to give me a CT scan. Boy, this is the longest I've talked without taking a break.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. And my wife is in the room at that point. They take me off. Two nurses put me in a wheelchair. They go to get me in the CT scan. I go unconscious. And I wake up on the floor, and every doctor on the floor, they had called a code blue. Every
Mhm.
doctor on the floor is standing above me. And I know that I am concerned for my own well being, but I'm also concerned that my wife, I know she knows that that code blue was for me. I just left the room. So I'm also concerned of how she's feeling. So that was one of the toughest days. I go in the CT scan for an hour and 45 minutes. And I kind of go a little manic in the sense that I should be exhausted, but I focus on all the things I can do to get out of this situation instead. I don't sleep 1 minute. I'm up all night. I get out of the CT scan, and that night I'm praying, I'm breathing, I'm visualizing. My wife had come up with a third component of this. I would love to, if you ever come across something dealing with hospitals or patients, I would love to donate my time to help
Mhm.
because unfortunately in hospitals, the food is like chicken fingers and French fries.
Mhm.
And now here we have people that are probably in the most traumatic part of their life that need healing. And we have the caregiver that we need every ounce of excellence and ability they have to help heal these people. And everybody's being fueled on M&Ms and M's and chicken fingers.
Right. Yeah.
So my wife came up with the idea because I had to have pureed food that she was going to puree organic food for me and bring it back into the hospital. So
Mhm.
now at least we're doing something on a cellular level. And so I had the music, I had the prayer, I had the breath work, I had the pureed food, and there's a whole lot that happens in there. But long story is, after 10 days, I get stable enough where I can be discharged from the ICU in a wheelchair, and I start my extensive rehab to relearn how to walk, and I graduate from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane. And when I say gratitude, this is where I learned gratitude. In points in my life, I did look on the other side of the table and go, I don't have this or that. I felt like inadequate sometimes. But when you wake up and the only thing you have is moving your finger,
Mhm.
I had to be grateful for that.
Yeah.
I didn't focus on the fact that I couldn't walk. I didn't focus on the fact I couldn't move my other hand. I said, this is better than it was yesterday. And I'm going to keep working on this until I can do this, until I can do this.
Right.
And so I became very grateful for all the things I had, even though they were the littlest amount that I had had in my life. And it was those small incremental steps that were able to get me back to walking, that were able to get me back to a place where I can once again help people.
Oh my goodness, that is such a blessing. I that gave me goosebumps hearing that story. So you said it was a total of 10 days that you were fully paralyzed.
Yeah, in the ICU.
And this is a autoimmune disease?
Mhm. S So what it the way it manifests itself is Guillain-Barre syndrome attacks your own body, is
Mhm.
sending signals for your body to attack your nerve endings, the myelin sheath on your nerves. And my body was eating away at the myelin sheath on my nerves. Now, if you don't get electrical charges from your nerves, it doesn't send anything to your skeletal system, your muscles. So without your nerve endings, that's I lost all movement. And through the blessing of the doctors, the nurses, they had to give me intravenous medicine called immunoglobulin IVIG.
Mhm.
That helps calm my body down so it stopped attacking itself.
Yeah.
Literally, I put a lot of weight in all the other things that we did, the nutrition, in the prayer, in the breath work, in visualization, and my body was able to reverse course, and I was able to work my way out of there. And unfortunately, through this and through writing books, I've been contacted by a lot of people that
Mhm.
have also had the same autoimmune disorder.
Yeah.
And I've been very blessed in the amount of recovery I've had. I've
Mhm.
been very blessed because a lot of people don't recover that much or never recover.
Oh my goodness. And how long did it take for the full recovery?
I would say, I still don't have feeling on the bottom of my feet,
Okay.
but I don't look at it as a negative. I look at it as a daily reminder of where I've been.
Mhm.
And I have all these other things. And so that's like a little memento from what I've been through. So I may never fully recover if we say, getting
Okay.
feeling your feet, but it took about 3 months. I did. I'm a little extreme sometimes, maybe all the time. They were like, "You're gonna do physical pet therapy 2 to 3 days a week." I was like, "No, we're gonna do physical therapy 7 days a week. I'll
Yeah.
meet a physical therapist 5 days, and I'll do 2 days on my own." And so I did that 7 days a week, and sometimes it was just a couple minutes, like, I would collapse trying to make it from my bed to the couch in the walker. I wouldn't make it, but I would go back, and I'll go, "Okay, we'll try to go a little further next time." And so about 3 months, I was pretty well off after about 3 months of that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So yeah, like you said, gratitude and putting in the work. Like you got it, no matter how hard it may become or how hard it is, it's about putting in that work and waking up each day and just doing whatever it takes.
Yeah, for sure, for
That
sure.
is, oh my goodness, that's powerful. That is a very, very, you're a very strong man. And
Oh, thank you.
oh my goodness. So, and then for that, is that what led to your speaking career or is that what led to writing the books?
All of that. Those are great questions. So there was a day where I was 100% defeated. I was in the garage with my wife. I was in a walker at that point,
Mhm.
and we have video of this. She just happened to tape it. But I was just trying to bend my knees. I was at the point where I could use a walker and I could bend my knees. And I was just exhausted. It had been a couple months. And I went back in my room and I was sitting there looking in the mirror. And I was like, how do I proceed with this? And I realized that for so many years, I had been telling my clients in training and fitness that our mind is so strong. And it was time for me to take a dose of my own medicine and my own advice. And what I didn't tell you is when I was arrested, I was in a jail cell. There was a point where I was in limbo where they didn't know what was going to happen to the individual I hit. If he had passed away, I would have been charged with manslaughter.
Yeah.
And when the Detective Harris came to talk to me and let me know that the person that I got in a fight with had lived, had survived, he said to me, "What are you gonna do with the rest of your life?" And so here I am, fresh off of being completely paralyzed, defeated, and I hear his voice. asking me, what am I going to do? And I knew at that moment that I had to take the opportunity of being paralyzed to use it to help other people. And that was my motivation to getting into speaking. And that was my motivation into writing a book. And here I am, same guy that was told to put your hand down,
Yeah.
have dyslexia, and I end up writing a book. I've never written anything, and it becomes a bestseller.
Yeah.
But it was through those challenges and the adversity that blossomed that.
Yeah.
Because if none of that happened, I wouldn't have had the inspiration to do that. And so that's how I got inspired to write a book. I'm like, hey, I can't move the rest of my body, but I have my mind and I can start moving my hands and I'll type on a keyboard.
Yeah.
And so that's what got my first book done was the opportunity of not being able to work for 3 months or do stuff. I started filling that with, okay, what are things in my life that I've been through that I can share? Because for years, I didn't tell anybody of these things. There was such a layer of shame on it that I never told people I was arrested. I mean, the people that knew, from my neighborhood knew and all that, but I was, I known people 20 years, they never knew. And so I said, I have to remove the veil of shame of that, expose it, go, I've been through this. I'm going to come out on the other side. And you may be going through something similar and you can do the same.
Right. I I greatly appreciate that. And then because of that, what I gained from that is our adversities sometimes are what give birth to our purpose, right? It gives us that voice. That way we're able to be that testimony for others. Um, and what, after writing these books and going through this, how did you become a keynote speaker and start touring and going to schools and speaking to
Yeah.
other schools?
I wish I could tell you.
How?
Um, no, the reality of it is I started studying what other people were doing. I feel like there's footprints left in whatever you want to achieve. If you're willing to investigate, invest in yourself, like in resources. I started going to school for it. I started studying. And then like my first speaking engagement, that was this paid speaking engagement. I still to this day don't even know how they found me. I think it was from maybe I was on a podcast and I was telling the people at that time at the end of the podcast with my aspirations are to share this story.
Yeah.
And somebody must have heard that and they hired me to go and speak at 3 different events. And from there, I just kept studying and putting in the work and working on my craft and my story and hiring people that can help me that have been down this road. And I've been blessed once again that people have shared their life with me, have shared their knowledge,
Yeah.
and I do the best I can every day to do the same. And so it's just, I'm still in the infancy of it. It's only been a year and a half. This is crazy. I've been hired to also speak to Google, to Amazon, to Whole Foods. My wife and I just did an amazing talk. I would never have thought this was possible. It's such a blessing to go and speak to the Mescalero Apache Indian tribe about health and wellness. And I'm like, talk about a community that's been through struggles, talk about a community that needs help. I'm honored that you would bring me out here. And so it's opened a lot of doors for me. And that's how I got into it.
That is a major blessing. That is
Yeah.
significant. Oh my goodness. And you said you and your wife both do that now.
We do. We have done a couple, and my wife is a functional nutritionist.
Okay.
Basically, she looks at labs from blood work and can help with, as opposed to just exclusively medication, go, oh, maybe there's some lifestyle and nutritional things that you can do that will help in addition to medication or remove the medication. And so we've been together so long it's a great dynamic where she can have the perspective from a female and I
Yeah.
can have a different perspective and we can serve a wider community of helping people.
I like that. And do your children join in or no?
Oh my god. Uh, I'll tell you, we just came from New Mexico a couple weeks ago, and my we made a vacation out of it, a family thing, and it was an amazing trip, and everything was amazing. So we presented at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we were done. We stayed till like 2 o'clock, and we were at the pool at this hotel where it took place. And my
Uh-huh.
kids are swimming, and we get a call, and they said, "We would love for you to come to closing ceremonies. We have some native uh, Mescalero Apache Indians, and they're doing a ceremonial dance, and they would love for you to be part of it." So my kids come and they're mortified. I
Yeah.
look at it like, when am I ever going to get asked to be participate in like a Native American dance and everything? I looked at it as a blessing. So I was like, I know I look ridiculous. I
Uh-huh.
know I'm silly, but I'm going to be silly. And my wife and I get up there, and our kids were like, "Oh my God, those are not my parents. Those are not my
Yeah.
parents." And they left. They're going, "We're going to get something to eat."
Yeah. They don't wanna be embarrassed.
Yeah. I feel like if you're not embarrassing your kids at least once a week, you're not doing your job.
Right, exactly. I definitely agree with that. Um, oh my goodness, that is just that is really amazing. Is there any word like, is that, um, what do you call it? Is that, like, viral? Was that recorded or anything?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I have clips of it on my social media,
Mhm.
and then I know they recorded some of it. It was in their local paper up there, it's on their websites. Yeah, you can. I don't know if I've posted. I posted for the sake of my children's mental health. I have not posted my wife and I dancing with the Native Americans, but I have posted them dancing. I may leak that out at some point.
Okay.
I think they could handle it.
Well, thank you so much, and out of any type of suggestion or advice or anything, is there anything that you would like to tell the listeners?
Yes. One moment doesn't define your life. Sometimes we can't see the light, but we're in the darkest moments of our life, and know that you have to surround yourself with people that are going to support you, they're going to hold you accountable, that are going to also believe in your dreams. So know that there have been many moments in my life where if you took a snapshot in my life, you would go, that person is a degenerate. That person is, you know, not something you would want to be. Whatever you're going through in your life, if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to go and look for resources, you can become anything you want. Follow your dreams, follow your heart, keep yourself accountable. There's no magic wand. You'll have to put in work, but you can literally do it. And I would love to hear from anybody that needs support. I would love to hear from anybody. I love hearing not only success stories, but I love from hearing from people that are going through trials, because it was a mentor, one or two mentors that really helped me in my darkest moments to get me here. And I need to pay that forward as much as I can.
And John, what I know you said that you have a new book that's getting ready to be released on August 19th, but what are the names of your other books?
So there's my new book. It's going to be out on the 19th. It was really designed to be a giveaway for kids at assemblies, something tangible for them to take away. My other book, my first book was Confessions of a Hollywood Trainer.
Mhm.
If you read it, there's a lot of swear words in there. I apologize, but I had to be honest to where I was at that point in my life.
Yeah.
My second book was Confessions of a Hollywood Trainer Teen Edition, because I have such an affinity for our youth, and I wanted to give them takeaways with all vulgar words or anything like that, so I can feel good in my heart that they're going to get a lesson minus all the things they don't need. And my third book is called Built from Failure.
Yeah, I love how you did that for the teens. I like how you you kinda separated the 2, that's awesome. And then what is your website? I'm gonna put it in the show notes as well,
Sure.
but I wanna tell you what the website is.
JohnPetrelli.com, builtfromfailure.com. If you type any of that in, it'll go right there to johnpetrelli.com. You'll be able to see my website.
Alright, well, thank you so much again, John, for coming on this show, And again, everyone, I'm Robin Black. This is It's All About Healing podcast. Everyone, stay blessed.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.